Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm using my teacher voice right now, so thank you for coming to today's lecture.
Excellent. Glad to be a part of the classroom.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I'll get right down to it. How have you been? Is this your first pandemic?
This is my first pandemic as a human and a teacher. So I think I'm doing all right, but it's definitely been an interesting challenge.
Yeah, in terms of just mental health and then having to have just your whole family go through it, you think?
Absolutely. I mean, while I am a teacher and I'm, running online classes for my students, I'm also at home with my two young children, and they are going through this experience of trying to learn online, and my husband and I are trying to help them with that while also teaching our own classes. And so I think, parts of it have been really fun for them, but, other parts are stressful and a little bit frustrating, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And you say you teach. What do you teach, and for what grade?
So I am a drama teacher.
Ooh.
Yes, and I teach kindergarten, actually pre-kindergarten, so 4-year-olds through 8th grade. All of the children that go to the school where I teach all of them. Drama at my school is not an elective. Everybody takes it and everyone participates. So I guess that's, an added challenge in my online teaching right now is like, how does drama or, how do theater classes translate to online across a computer?
Yeah, and so is that a big adjustment for each grade or not at all?
In terms of like what I'm actually teaching them, or
yeah, I think like that, and probably even on an online class, because I would think it's a little bit harder to teach a younger kids theater as opposed to maybe like the 8th graders and so forth.
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of tailor, obviously, the lessons to the grades, and I don't have video classes. Like I don't have like live Google Meet or Zoom classes with all of my students. I've kind of been spreading those out, to get some FaceTime with them. When I say FaceTime, I mean like I see them, they see me. But in terms of creating lessons for the younger students, I've actually been making a lot of videos of some of the creative drama exercises that we usually would do in school, or other things that they would like help me come up with. Like we did a video meet and we wrote a story together with some of my kindergartners, and then I actually recorded myself sort of acting out that story, so then at home they could play the video and see me like they would in drama class and act it out on their own.
That's fantastic, and I'm glad they're playing along with it. I would think it's a little hard to, I don't know, for me theater is like escapism, and it's very hard to have escapism right now in the mix of this crisis. And is it hard for you to grab students' attention because, there's so many distractions going on right now?
I don't know 100%. I have been getting a lot of good feedback from both my students and their parents. And I think, like you said, the one aspect of theater, like the escapism of it, or like the ability to use your imagination to create characters and stories, are sort of helping them. Because so much of what they're doing, they're staring at these screens or doing activities on the computer. And so I've tried to tailor my activities so that, they spend a little bit of time listening to the directions or reading them, but then they're stepping away from the screen, challenging themselves creatively and using their imaginations to create something, and then maybe they're recording it, or maybe they're sharing it with a family member, but it's like a totally different, part of their brain getting to use that. Hopefully that's what I've been going for.
Yeah, and I think I like that they're using the whole part of the brain, because, like on other subjects, like I take a history class and it's just I'm listening to the teacher and I'm just writing stuff down and I'm not putting the effort for that as opposed to something else, like you said, they get to act it out, or they get to watch you for a theater class, which is fantastic. So I kind of want to go back to when this pandemic started. When did you have to address that, telling your students that we're not going to be back for the foreseeable future?
I am fortunate that I actually did not have to do that. We had our spring break. It timed out like exactly before everything really kind of exploded. We went on spring break thinking that, a couple schools had closed here and there in the Chicagoland area, and nobody knew at that point what this was. I think we just didn't know. So we went on spring break, and then we just never came back. So that was, yeah, I mean, look, I didn't have to have that conversation, but I've had many, online chats with some of my students just discussing, plays that have been canceled that they've been working on for months, and that part of it was really hard, but just trying to be there to support them and let them know, I'm sad and I'm thinking about you, and we're going to find some other fun, creative things to do.
Yeah, for sure. And are you finding other ways to entertain yourself during this pandemic? Are you trying new things? Are you going back to maybe old habits or things that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I've been bouncing around. I've been, of course, trying to knock off some of the things from the list, like clean and organize, and then read those plays and create my self-tape studio in my basement, and baking. I want to bake every day. I haven't really been baking every day, but at a certain point I was like, actually, I really need to stop baking every day. Disastrous effect.
That's fantastic. No, my sister is actually baking, and she's just finding these recipes every day, and she's, I give her an A for effort is what I tell her, as the oldest sibling. But yeah, I think that's wonderful. And when you're looking forward to the foreseeable future, and it's very hard to kind of paints this idea of when this is going to end, when we can return to a new kind of normal. Do you think whenever we do come back to regular our regularly scheduled classroom, do you think it's going to be weird to kind of adjust back to that an old normal?
I really did think that it would be, and I still think the fall is going to be strange. I mean, we know we're not going back into the classroom this school year. Yeah. So when I think about September and the fact that the last time I saw my students was mid-March, even over the summer they change and things change so much. I feel like for them it's going to feel sort of like a lifetime, for some of the little ones especially, since they were in a classroom, and trying to reestablish what learning inside a classroom means again. My school, I think, has done the best job they can to keep the distance learning as close to some sort of a routine as possible. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
not a great answer, but
no, that's great. And I think, to add on, I think for the little ones, being back in the room with 10 plus students is going to be very weird and probably very exciting. Of they're seeing probably someone else that isn't their sibling, or someone else who isn't their parents for the last in a very long time. So I think it's going to be very, very strange for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I actually didn't think about that. That aspect will be great. I know my children are so looking forward to being able to actually play with their friends again. But I just hope, we don't know what the future holds, but that by the time we get back, that it will be sort of returning to what it was before. I don't know if it will, if it will be able to, if the kids will, I don't know if they'll be worried, should we be wearing masks? Yeah. I hope that, at the very least, that this is the silver lining, that my students will be washing their hands better. My students students and everyone else's kids, I'm like, 20 seconds! At least.
Yeah, right, both as a teacher and a parent, so I hope everyone is washing their hands after that.
If they don't know proper technique by now.
If they don't know proper technique by now, then we're all screwed, per se. It's funny. Indiana has like a 5-step plan now of like how they're going to reopen their state, and the governor has some ideas of how we're going to slowly open up Illinois. Does that worry you at all? Because today we've had a spike in cases again, and as we are opening things back up, and I'm like, for my sake, I'm very confused and concerned about is this too early or are we too late?
Yeah, I agree, and I hear you. I feel in all of this, for me personally, that there is so much information that I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this, but that we just don't have, the same access to as people that are working in health and hopefully making these decisions. So I just really hope that they are using the information and making wise and prudent choices for, for the state and keeping people safe.
Yeah. I'm just curious, have you heard from other teachers, educators of what they've been doing during this whole pandemic in terms of teaching?
I have from some of my friends that I know that also are arts educators. My husband is a teacher as well, and he teaches Spanish. And because my younger daughter actually goes to a different school, I have been able to see what her teachers are doing, and each of them are creating different content and things like that for all of the different, she has different special subjects plus her homeroom teacher. So it's really interesting seeing what they're doing, and things that I think would work, I try to take that, and anyone that I can share with what I'm doing, share it with them. We have to just be here to support each other and help each other out. Yeah.
And my last question to you, since you were my assistant director when we did Front Page many moons ago, and the future of theater is a big cloud right now. What do you see, or what do you want to see from the future of theater, or just live performances in general whenever this is over?
Well, yeah, I think that two things. One, necessity is the mother of an invention, right?
Yeah.
There is that the saying, and so I see a lot of theater companies right now trying new things, doing everything they can to still keep performances and just reaching their audiences going. I hope when this is all over that theaters can survive, because we need them. We need art, and we need live performances. And if that means adjusting, for at least for a while, or maybe forever, audience seating, and maybe allowing some more distance, or looking at live performances in a different setting, maybe, I don't know, where the audience is moving and to different parts of the performance where they can keep distance. I don't know if that's what I want, but if that's what has to be, then at least it would be something.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Whitney, I can't imagine another pre-K to 8th grade theater teacher I want to talk to right now during a pandemic. So thank you for coming on and taking some time to talk. I really do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking me. It was fun. It was a pleasure.
It was always a pleasure. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening to this episode of You Have a Minute, a daily isolated podcast. My thanks to Whitney Minarik for coming on the show and taking some time to talk to me. A very lovely person, and props to her for teaching from pre-K to 8th grade students. That's awesome, and I think what she's doing is just fantastic. So tomorrow is going to be the last day of our whole education week, which has been just an incredible week, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it as much as I am, because I've been learning a lot, and hopefully you guys have been as well. So on that note, wear a mask, wash your hands, please distance yourself 6 feet apart from people. Let's keep flattening this curve, and I will talk to you tomorrow.